Okay, when you think of programming, what comes to mind? Is it that classic image of green text just scrolling down a black screen, right? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain on that old stereotype. We're diving into this idea that programming, it's not just some technical skill. It's actually a completely new, really powerful way of thinking. So let's just jump right in with this really cool idea. The programmer as a kind of digital wizard. Seriously, think about it. You're basically conjuring up whole worlds, building these incredibly useful tools, or creating experiences that people will never forget. And all with just a few lines of what are basically logical incantations. I mean, going from a totally blank screen to the app you use to order your coffee in the morning, now that is the kind of magic we're talking about here. But here's the real secret, you know? What if the magic isn't really the code itself? What if it's the mindset that lets you write that code in the first place? That's the huge question we're going to dig into. This is about way more than just a job. It's a whole mental journey, a total transformation. All right, first up, let's talk about this digital magic. We're going to unpack what this power of creation actually means, and you'll see how it's way more real and within reach than you probably think. So the core of this magic, it's just pure creation. You know, a writer has words, a painter has a canvas. Well, a programmer takes an idea, something that's just floating around in their head, and they build it into something real, something that actually works, something you can use and click on and really interact with. You are literally creating a useful machine out of nothing but logic. But that power, that ability to create, it doesn't just come from learning a language like Python or Java. And this right here brings us to the absolute core of it all. The real secret weapon is learning how to think in a completely different way. This really gets at a huge mental shift. See, most people, when they see a big problem, they get overwhelmed. It feels like hitting a brick wall. But a programmer, they learn to see a puzzle. And that tiny change, from seeing an obstacle to seeing an opportunity, that makes all the difference. Suddenly, frustration turns into curiosity. The problem isn't a reason to give up. It's the reason to get started. Okay, so how do you actually solve these puzzles? With something called an algorithm. Now, I know that word can sound super intimidating, but it's really not. An algorithm is just a recipe. It's a set of simple, clear steps to get you from point A, the problem, to point B, the solution. It's all about taming that complexity and turning what feels like chaos into a solid plan. And here's the thing. You do this stuff all the time and probably don't even think about it. Making a cup of tea, following directions on a map, putting together some IKEA furniture, those are all algorithms. Every step is clear, it's simple, and it's gotta be in the right order. All programming really is learning how to write those kinds of recipes for a computer. It's about breaking down these giant tasks into tiny, manageable steps. But, and this is super important, this journey is not a smooth ride. At all. No code ever works perfectly the first time. Ever. So failure isn't just common, it's a mandatory part of the process. The real skill in programming isn't about being perfect. It's about persistence. It's about resilience. It's about how many times you can smash into a wall, take a breath, and say, okay, let's try another way. And you want to know a secret? Something that's just so liberating? You don't have to know everything. In fact, nobody does. I'm talking the most senior, brilliant programmers on the planet. They use Google every single day. The real skill isn't about memorizing a bunch of stuff. It's knowing how to ask the right questions and where to go to find the answers. Think of it like a permanent open book test. And man, that is so freeing. Okay, so that's the mindset, right? The internal operating system. But what does it actually feel like to live this stuff? What's the real human side of it all, behind the screen? Let's get real about what a day in the life looks like. Look, it's not always glamorous. It's a constant battle to find deep focus in a world that's built on distractions. It's all about managing your own mental energy so you don't burn out. You know, that feeling where your creative well is just totally dry and every single line of code feels like climbing a mountain? It's spending hours hunting down one stupid misplaced comma that's breaking your entire program. It's this nonstop cycle of frustration and little failures. But then, there's that spark, that moment. The moment it finally works. The moment the button does exactly what you told it to do. The instant your program runs and there are no errors. That feeling, that incredible rush of joy. That feeling of, I made this, that's what makes all that struggle completely worth it. It's the one reward that just washes away all the exhaustion. Now, that spark is powerful, for sure. But what keeps you going long term? I mean, why would anyone push through all that frustration day after day? Well, that brings us to maybe the most important piece of this whole puzzle: finding your purpose, finding your why beyond just the code itself. And this is where programming honestly becomes a superpower. It's a tool that you can combine with literally anything else you're passionate about. You love music? Okay, build a tool for composing. You're a huge sports fan? Create an app to track performance stats. The code is the bridge. It connects your technical skill with what you actually care about, what really drives you. And when you zoom out, you start to see that this isn't just about your own personal projects. Code is literally building the world around us. I mean, everything from healthcare and finance to how we talk to each other, even art. Programming is the language that's shaping our future. And learning to code, that's learning how to speak that language. So after all of that, the magic, the mindset, the tough parts, and the incredible rewards, there's really only one thing left: the beginning, your beginning. I want you to imagine this for a second. You spend weeks, maybe even months, building something from absolutely nothing. Then, one day, you get a message. It's from someone you've never met halfway across the world. And they tell you that the thing you built, the thing you created, it made their life just a little bit easier. That right there is the ultimate win. That's the why. See, programming isn't some destination you arrive at. It's a path. It's a journey of constant learning, constant creation. With every new thing you figure out, 100 new doors just swing open in front of you. So the question was never about whether you're smart enough. The only real question is, are you ready to start the journey?